Hey everyone, I'm Clay, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about the life of an engineering student. So I am a junior at Cornell University, and I major in operations research and engineering, and I minor in business and data science. And through the last 2.5 years in college as an engineering student, I've learned a lot about ways to best navigate being in an engineering school, the different majors that are available, the different minors available, and how to best prepare yourself for success in a lot of these courses. Personally, I chose engineering because I think that it's a really applicable and diverse type of major. If you're good at math and science, it's definitely a really great way to set yourself up for success in a lot of different industries. When you're a college student in engineering, it often starts out, and this is really common a lot amongst most schools, is there's a lot of general engineering introductory courses that you take. So for me, for example, we have all of the intro math, science, CS, etc. that you have to take. And often that's going to include classes like calculus, lots of types of physics, chemistry, linear algebra, differential equations, etc. And those types of courses really help build the foundation for your engineering education. Now, a lot of students, you come in with just kind of a major that you were intending on doing, whether that be chemical engineering or electrical engineering, mechanical, etc. But those classes don't really become more specific until the end of your sophomore year into your junior year. So for me, for example, I was taking classes that were more specific towards operations research students starting my sophomore fall, but they were still general engineering courses like statistics. But then things became more specialized last semester when I got to take some courses in machine learning and data science. And of course, now when I'm taking courses in optimization and higher level stats as well. And for a lot of students, this is very similar. Your freshman and sophomore years have a lot of that foundation, and then you build off of that later. One thing you have to be considerate about when you're an engineer is picking your major, because you often come in as a kind of an undecided major. Even if you're intending on a specific engineering major, you're normally not going to be affiliated into that major until later on. So at Cornell, for example, I didn't affiliate into operations research until the end of my sophomore fall. And sometimes it's for people, it's their sophomore spring. Sometimes it's their junior fall. It really just depends on the person and what courses they've taken so far. But you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of different majors and a lot of different things that you can study within engineering, and they are drastically different. So think about what really interests you, what industries you're looking at, and what jobs are most enticing to you. And I think that this can really be helpful through career services, speaking to your advisors. You'll likely be paired with a number of advisors in engineering, depending on where you go. There'll be different formats, but there's always people there to give you good advice. When you're trying to get those problem sets done every week, they can be tricky. And beyond office hours, finding study groups and people that are, studying for the same classes as you and exams, they can really show you a different way of thinking about a different topic. So I know, for example, in a lot of my core operations research courses, things can get really confusing for me and sometimes go over my head. But if I'm going through the material and just discussing it with a peer who's in those classes with me, it can really help me get a different perspective of, oh, she's thinking about it this way, or oh, he's thinking about it this way. And maybe that makes more sense to me than the way I initially interpreted it. And it just shows that there's many different ways we can learn the same material. And it's really, your education is up to what works best for you. With engineering courses, I would say often it's very exam-based. You're going to have likely 2 exams and a final, sometimes 1, sometimes 3, but let's average it around 2. And these exams will be worth a lot of your grade. They won't be easy, and they'll take a lot of studying. But you have to remember that if you really go through your notes and look through everything and go to those office hours to ask those additional questions, you'll be properly set up to perform well. I would say one piece of advice that I'll leave you with that's been really helpful for me is I think if I do what I can to succeed, and I've done everything I can, I've gone to office hours, I've talked to my friends about the material, I've gone through the practice exams, I've gone through my homeworks, whatnot, and really done everything I can to do well. Regardless of how I do, I know that I did my best. And that's something that is really important to rely on, is knowing that you did your best and you did everything you could to set yourself up for success, and to never get discouraged and just to keep on going. And I would say that that's one thing engineering really taught me, is to never get too discouraged and don't let one setback slow you down. Just keep pulling through and just keep chugging along, because you are learning and you are going to get there and you're going to get through it. At the end of the day, it's most important to know where your resources are and know how to use them, and manage your time properly to know, how can I go to office hours as much as possible? How can I set up to do my homeworks in an appropriate time frame so I get everything done? And at the end of the day, that's really what you have to think about. So I hope this has given you guys some good tips to, being an engineer and the type of life as an engineer. And I will leave you guys with that. But I hope that was extremely helpful, and I'll talk to you all later.